Companies need a reliable, scalable, and unbiased way to assess talent. That's where we step in. Topin.tech superpowers your hiring by enabling you to create custom skill assessments that let you evaluate the best of the talent. In this demo, I'm going to walk you through how you can create and publish your first assessment and analyze candidate profiles using Topin.tech. Let's get started. So here we've got the homepage of Topin.tech. All right, let's begin with Create Assessment. Here, we've got two options. We can either go with pre-made templates or start from scratch and build our own custom assessment. If we go with the templates, for example, I can go with Web Developer and add a bunch of sections. So click Create New Section, select the section type. For example, I want to have a communication related section. So let's say this is Com1. Adjust the time limit here. So I can put 10 minutes. Here's how you add questions. You can pick questions from the topic library or from My Questions. Here, we happen to have 10 questions within our own library and about 325 in the Topin library. Now, I can decide if I want a writing, speaking, listening, or reading test of difficulty levels, pick them randomly, and decide how many I want here. There we go. So now we've got 10 questions randomly picked of 2 marks each. Now that I've set all of my parameters, let me add this section. There we go. Enable question jumbling, add section. Make sure you save. Okay. So the first section happens to be a skill assessment, which is an MCQ type. The second is a communication type. Since this is for a web developer, I think web coding would be a great section. So let's go with the web coding 1. Time limit, 30 minutes. Add questions. Once again, web coding, easy. Pick random questions. I want to have 2 questions, which are 10 marks each. Now that we've configured this, let's go. Make sure to save by clicking Add Section. I want to have one more section, for example, audio. Now, I want to try the audio section because I want to check this web developer's communication skills. All right. So let's say we have 15 minutes to complete the audio section. Let's say I want to check their listening ability actually here. That's easy. And I have just one question, which is worth 5 marks. Click Save. All right. So you also get suggested sections here. If you want to add MCQs, coding, whatever are related to web developer, you can just directly pick them up, put them here. But I just wanted to have these 4 sections, so I'm done. Click Save and Next. And we end up at Final Review. Now, in Final Review, we can put our name of the assessment, additional tags if we want to, the exam start time, end time, let's say. The minimum time happens to be 9:10 because of the, things we put here. The organization details and advanced options. So here, we can decide if we want to have no criteria for shortlisting, a passing marks criteria for shortlisting, or only go on a ranked basis. Let's say I want to have this as my criteria here. I can decide if I want to enable camera proctoring, audio proctoring, and decide if I want to terminate an exam. This is the maximum number of times you're allowed to move out of the assessment portal before the section just terminates. Let's say we want to be really stringent. We can go with 2, as is the minimum, or even 5. We can decide if we let candidates review their mistakes immediately after the attempt, after the assessment ends, or not at all. We can also decide if we want to send the results immediately after the assessment ends to the candidates. We also have the option to customize our invitation mails here, save template, and also the option to customize a reminder mail here. We can also decide if we wish to collect candidate feedback, in which case we just add a simple form link. There we go. Make sure you click Save and Next. First, let's go with Preview. All right. So the assessment happens to start in 23 seconds. Until then, I'll not be allowed to go. In the meantime, I can go through the details. Right? Looks great. All right. So here are the instructions. Let's get started. There we go. Click on Hide. Next. We've got our 4 sections that we've mentioned earlier here with the score, duration, and number of questions plus the exam type. Let's start with section 1. Go through the instructions. Go through the code of conduct. And test your microphone. I'm excited to start the assessment. There we go. Here, I can check my camera view, ensuring that I stay right in the center. Now see, if I do this, if I do that, later in the exam, it's going to flag. All right, here we can see what we look like. So for example, let's say I move out or I cover my face. All right, the first flag is external noise detected because I'm speaking, right? The second is if I leave. There we go. See, now that it's recognized my face, I can continue section. If I leave again, there's a 30-second timer that goes down, and once the 30 seconds are exhausted, the session simply terminates. Now let's continue the section. All right, so we've got 25 questions here. Submit, submit. Let's move on. The next section is communications. All right. I am excited to start the assessment. My audio did not match the given text, so I'll have to try again. I'm excited to start the assessment. Let's go. The code of conduct again. Checking my camera view once again. Let's restart. Now these are the communication questions, which happen to be the reading type. Submit. Yes, you can also do this. Here you can just see your internet quality. Again, we can see our camera. You can go through the instructions once again. You can only attempt this assessment once, each section only once. If you skip it, you will see it again, but once you attempt it, you will not be seeing it again. Section. Let's proceed to web coding. I'm excited to start the assessment. All right, so here we've got 2 questions. There we go. We have a warning. We cannot edit the pre-filled code. We just have to apply JavaScript functionality to the pre-filled HTML and CSS so that all of this becomes dynamic. We can also run code as many times as we want. Here's the problems list. Problem 2, problem 1, and our test cases. So here's where we run code so that we have a live view, so that the web developer has a live view of what they're working on and how it runs once they enter stuff here. Okay. We can also inspect, check our console, check all of these configurations, preview or reset. We can click save here, and that's done. Next section, the audio test. All right. Let's see.
Electrifying, petrifying, elopement.
Okay, so this is the answer. Since there's only one question, I suppose this was a speedy run. There we go. So here's the option to rate my overall experience here. Excellent so far. And that's it for the preview. Now that we've tried, we can go and click Publish Assessment. This can be public or private. So anyone can access and write the assessment, or only invited candidates can. Now, I wanted this to be private. All right. Now we can publish, and we can make this public or private. Now that the assessment link is live, we can decide if we want to invite candidates one by one, if it's a very niche pool, or you can just attach a CSV file to invite candidates in bulk. Let's say Mohit 2567, right? Send invite. All right. So now that the invites are sent out, let's go back to our home page. Now the status is yet to start because the start time is 7:50 p.m. and it is not yet 7:50. So it starts in 1 minute. Now, what we can do here is view statistics. So we've so far invited one candidate and can download results only after at least one candidate has attempted the assessment. So why don't we look at a completed assessment? Here's another test just for reference to show you what the statistics page can look like when a candidate has actually completed their assessment. For example, we've got Mohit here, who has attempted it, taken 4 minutes and 1 second. Now, this is his trust score, which is basically calculated on the number of flags and violations that came up while the assessment was done. Now, his trust score here happens to be 68 out of 100. Let's see. We get further details here. In each section, now, how did he end the section? He quit. How many questions did he attempt? 3. The duration happened to be 49 seconds. We can see the marks. We can review the attempt, question by question, section by section, see how many difficult questions he's attempted, how many easy, how many hard. Here's the anti-cheating report in full detail, by the way. Now, the number of times he's moved out of window is 0. but the number of audio violations is 9. The number of times the face was not clearly detected is 10, etc. and etc. He's violated the full screen mode. Multiple display devices were not detected, but the candidate has resumed the assessment once, which is suspicious. But all of these come with evidence. Now, what is our first MCQ section?
This for the during.
Alright, so once you submit a question. Now see, this is clear signs of cheating. You can also see where multiple faces were detected. You can clearly see 2 students here trying to attempt this exam. So while you've got a full list of this evidence right here and the activity log right here, you can also see every image that was taken that was part of the anti-cheating report images. These happen to be in the database collected for 2 months at least. Now this is the entire session preview, by the way. And these red dots are when violations were flagged. Now this was noise detected, this was noise detected, this was noise detected again. So if you move here, you can see exactly what the violation was. You can also download the report of this candidate or export it as a PDF. By the way, we can also check all of our basic details and our configurations again here and invite more candidates if we wish to. Next up, we've got My Questions. This is basically how to add questions to your own custom library. For example, create question. Let's say I wish to create an MCQ. Okay, so how many continents are in the world? Option number 1, 10, 8, 7, 5. We can also put an additional explanation if it's required. Select which topic it ends up in. So this is logical reasoning, for example, and it's a very easy question. And that's pretty much it for manual entries. We can also bulk upload questions so that it's just faster and more efficient, right? So you attach a CSV here, publish, same goes. Save and next. Yes, because this is an MCQ, you have to make sure that you put the right answer. So now that we've attached the right answer, you go save, and that's it. Publish. Basically, that's how you create questions within your library. Moving on, let's go to account details. Let's check out account details. Upon onboarding, every user and organization gets 1,000 free credits to begin with. Now, you have your basic stuff like your name, email address, phone number, organization details, and workspace access. Now, workspace access is basically determining how people are allowed to access this workspace, right? So, is it only by admin approval, or anyone with your company email organization, let's say Deloitte, let's say McKinsey, are able to access this? Next up, we have user and roles. Now, these are all the users within our organization. For example, as an admin, as an organizational admin, I have the ability to change the role. Now, I can select this person, Vijay, as an organizational admin, as a co-admin with slightly reduced capabilities, or as a viewer who's not able to do as much as co-admin and organizational admin. Next up, we have integrations. So this is where we can go through the Topin AI documentation details. For example, if you're Coursera and you wish to add an assessment layer to your certificate programs, here's where you simply take our API key and integrate it into your platform. You also have the option to deactivate current people who are using your API keys. And there you have it, folks. With Topin.tech, you can create custom skill assessments in minutes, ensure that no cheating takes place through our AI proctoring measures, analyze detailed performance insights, and ensure that you find the top talent faster. If you're looking to streamline your hiring process, explore Topin.tech.